Welcome back to my YouTube channel where I go over my process of applying for a PhD. And in the previous video, I talked about how I wrote my statement of purpose and the process I followed for that. This is kind of like a continuation of that video because I will talk about my personal history statement in this one. Now, a personal history statement is kind of this additional statement that some schools ask for, which is just sort of like a narrative of your personal experiences or your personal achievements or just different events of your life that brought you to the decision of applying for a PhD. And I believe they are also an important part of your application because through a personal history statement, a program is able to learn a lot about you as a person and your life and what kind of experiences you bring to their program and how do those experiences add to you and your research. So it's really a very good opportunity to add some color to your personality and strengthen your story and narrative. And a personal history statement can also be a little challenging to write because what exactly do you cover in your personal history? What are the different personal aspects that you would like to highlight in your application? These are not very straightforward answers, and at least for me, it required a lot of reflection to decide on what kind of aspects I would like to highlight in my application, which are personal and which also influence my decision. So I'll talk about the different things I talked about in my personal history statement in this video. So to get started, I think it's important to identify what are the requirements of a personal history statement and what are some very logistical kind of expectations from different programs. This basically means what is like the word length needed in a personal history statement, and if a personal history statement is even needed by the program. Because if it's not needed, then at least I believe that you could add those very personal aspects in your SOP so that you also go over those aspects in your application. But if it is needed, you could remove these aspects from that SOP because, well, space is limited, right? And you could put all the personal aspects in that additional statement. And also, different programs have very different word length requirements. Some just need 250 words of a personal history statement, some would require more, like 500 or even 750 words. So, what you get to cover in this statement um, would really differ a lot across the programs. So, identifying these requirements would be important. Now, what I wrote in my personal history statement was really just a story of my life and how that influenced who I am as a person today and the decision I've taken, which is of to apply for a PhD. Now, a PhD is a long commitment. It's a 5 year long, more than like 5+ year long commitment. So, it's going to be important to let the admission committee know that you are truly motivated for it. And I think I try to put down my story in a way that it supports that motivation. I really went very deep into my story about, where I grew up, how I grew up, how did that circumstance or my environment influenced me as a person, as a thinker, and what kind of interest I had starting young, and how did how did those interests evolve into what I want to do now. I also talked about some personal challenges I have had in terms of the different barriers of my decision. For example, research is not a very popular field of career in my country and specifically my field of research, which is HCM. So I personally had to do a lot by myself because there was no roadmap laid out for me. So I had to go out of my way and find opportunities to experience more of HCM. And also, as a woman in STEM, there is not much representation, and also in professional work environments, you might face certain resistance, or uh, there could be feelings of imposter syndrome, or all those not so very good things that could come in the way of your journey. But I talked about these aspects, but I also talked about how I navigated these challenges. And I think talking about these challenges and barriers was a great way to let the committee know that yes, my journey has not been easy, but I have been able to find out ways to navigate it. So that could speak to the resilience and the passion I have for the field. And I think resilience and passion for your field of research is definitely very important in uh, being a researcher. So, talking about this story of yours, and also maybe adding some elements of achievements and your wins, not just going over your losses, where you could say that, okay, this was a problem, but I did XYZ and the outcome was this, could really put together a great image of you as a researcher and how you navigate through challenges or problems. Because as I said, 5 years is a long time and it's not going to be a smooth journey. So, talking about how you navigate not so smooth parts of your journey is going to be important. And of course, being very honest is very important too, because I think I personally feel application committees or admission committees can tell when you're not being honest. And why would you want to really tell a story which is not yours? I feel if you're authentic about what you're saying, it shows in your writing. So, spending that time and trying to really understand your story becomes all the more important, so that that honesty gets reflected through it. So, yeah, this is roughly what I talked about in my personal history statement. Again, it's not a very long statement, so you cannot cover a lot. So, again, doing iterations here becomes important because you need to come up with the right uh, story and like write it down in the limited space that you have. So, that's important. But beyond this, yeah, just sit by yourself, think what brings you where you are today, and write it down. And I think that would be appreciated by committees because all they want to know is your experiences and how they shape you as a person. So, yeah, this was the process I followed, and I hope it could help you in some way. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.